Jai Guru. We start with a peace chant. We invoke the power of all the Gurus, the God, and the Divine Mother. Om Asato Ma Sat Gamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Divine Mother, God and the Gurus and the Supreme Brahman in each one of us, may we be enlightened with your blessing and grace through this session and walk away with different understanding. And each one of the sessions, each conversation, we march ahead in the journey towards the realization. Jai Guru. Welcome to you all. Today, as we start, we have been talking about, and the last Thursday, which we did in the Friday sessions, you all must have got it. We talked about before you sit for meditation. We'll go through a little more details on them. And along with that, what we need to see today, what is the goal of meditation? So before we sit for meditation, but we need to know what this meditation is for, what the goal. It reminds me of a beautiful statement we've shared earlier. Mahesh Yogi, whose disciples are very famously known, he is no more. He left his body at the age of 98 in Switzerland. He's got a great center there. And his very famous disciples are Ravi Shankar, Rishi Prabhakar, SSY, Deepak Chopra. All three of them are very famously known. And it's something, it reminds me also, the power of the Mahesh Yogi. He had gone off to America, New York itself, for his first talking about meditation and transcendental meditation. He was teaching the so-called the Westerners, the Americans, that if you follow this meditation, you will have a calm state of mind. You'll be very successful. And as you know, all the Westerners and Indians and all human beings, we love to look young. He talked about you'll be very young. You will not come across any sickness and disease. Your skin will be glowing and whatever, like you will attain great success in your professional career. You will be very peaceful. There will be no suffering and happiness. And it got known to the world around, and he became very famous. In one of his journey back in India, his co-disciples who had traveled together approached him and he said, Mahesh ji, what you're teaching in America today, yes, they are part of the product. Yes, they certainly would happen, but that's not the purpose of the meditation. So Mahesh Yogi answered, I really like his answer and I keep reflecting it in my mind. He says, I give them today what they want so that I can give them what I want once they realize the power of the meditation. So what is it that I want? We want, the goal of meditation is self-realization. Now, self-realization, knowing who am I? Now, who am I is Ravana Maharshi's very famous book. You all have read about it, you've understood. And same is the process of the Vedanta we have been talking about, which Swami Vivekananda brought it to the rest of the world. 1893, 11 September, till continuously till the end of his life. Vedanta Sara Upanishad Pramana. He brought this message again and again, that understand the ancient rich heritage of India and establish it. So, in which the confusions come into our mind that there is yogic way, Patanjali's way, and there is also Vedanta way. Now, understanding, are they different? They're not really different. And understanding it a little bit more in detail, I'm going to go across with the slides and take you. Before we do that, I want you to understand the basic ingredient, the foundation of Vedanta. Foundation of Vedanta is I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. Remembering our session through the Mandakya Upanishad, Tat Tvamasi, Mahavakya. Aham Brahmasmi. Prajnana Brahman, I am that. That consciousness is Brahman. And I am Atman Brahman. This self is Brahman. With this, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is talking about, in very simple punchline, dear fellow travelers of this wonderful journey. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and this question comes often in your mind, it used to come in my mind earlier, till we begin to understand. Patanjali says, do it. Do what? Do meditation. Do meditation to get into that called self-realization. Yes, of course, we will attain, in which we have to do something. Do it. In which, Ashtanga Yoga, we talk about ayama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and etc. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. But, there is a but. In Vedanta, Vedanta is saying, get it. Patanjali, do it. Vedanta is get it. What is get it? Get to know the awareness. Know the awareness. A very simple example I would share with you right now. How do we do this? From get it and from do it. Do it is very simple. We have to follow those beautiful paths given by Patanjali, the most ancient book ever written by Patanjali. And today, look at the world over. Meditation is the most powerful multi-billion-dollar sessions today going around the world. Children do it, babies do it, even hyperactive babies. I was being told by one of the monk who was going to live with one of the guests, and the guest had a hyperactive daughter. and, and as the daughter is going ahead, may I request all of you, please put on the camera. I would love to look at you. As I see looking at the screen, I don't see any faces. Hey, I like to see your faces. Thank you very much. My regards. I love you all. So, Patanjali Sutras are definite strictures of doing things. In getting is what? Becoming aware. How do we get to be aware? In a very simple journey today, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is also there in Vedanta. And we shared it on these Friday sessions, Thursday, Friday, our sessions. We talked about it. We'll just run through schematically a little bit of it. Those of you who like to know more, you can go through them. What do we do in the get it? Get it is become aware. Become aware. How? By using pointers. Example. First example. I will get on showing you this watch. You can see this watch. Open your eyes, see it. So you see the round, white colored shape, color and shape, which we give a name, a clock. Like we give ourselves a name. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankar, Chittayana, Na Aham, Shankaracharya is saying. So what do we think? Who's Robin Ghosh? This. What is this? Name. Body, form, and a mind. What do we do? The pointer. Look at this clock. You're seeing the clock. Be with me. Now, close your eyes. As I close my eyes, I'm removing the clock from your vision. You were aware of the clock because the clock through the lenses, because we are all virtual, through a light, that light reflected on the clock and entered the cornea through in turn, which sent signals to the brain neurons, which made connections through the synapses, went onto the mind and gave a message. You'd be surprised to know, till today, none of the neurophysician, neurospecialists have managed to come out with an explanation. How does the brain connect with the mind, give a first person experience? It is still not discovered. They say, give us 20, 30 years more, we will. Hard Facts of Consciousness, David Chalmers. Please go through it. He's the head of and the director of the Mind Brain Consciousness in NYU, New York University. Now, this pointer is saying, this is the clock when we have our eyes open. Now with your eyes closed, tell me, do you have an awareness which you call an experience that your eyes are closed? We know it. We are aware that my eyes are closed. Open your eyes. Now, we know our eyes are open. Who knows it? Which is this awareness which knew that my eyes are closed or that my eyes are open? I'll give you one more pointer. Please close your eyes. Concentrate and focus on listening here. Wherever you are, whichever room, space, place you are, you can hear something, maybe faint, maybe somebody's voice, maybe a noise outside of a traffic. Maybe if you're in a very peaceful place, maybe an insect chirping. You are aware that you're hearing something. Focus your concentration on the hearing. You can also hear my voice. Are you aware on this pointer that I can hear a voice, a chirping, somebody talk, or a noise from outside, an insect or a traffic? You can open your eyes. These are the pointers through which you're becoming aware of the sound of the vision. I will take you through another journey in which I'm going to use the pointers and take you to the projections of the slide. Take the journey, the beautiful journey toward the self realization. I'm going to take you across and walk you through one of the very powerful meditative starting process, which when you practice, it gives you a very powerful and peaceful journey. I close my eyes. I'm starting with the temple of Dakshineshwar, Mother Kali, Bhavatarani Mother. I do my pranam. I see the mother's face. I feel the energy. I feel the vibration of the powerful awareness of mother's presence. Not just the statue, but the light of her presence. I see the Lord Shiva statue below the mother's feet. I come outside and I see the Dwadas temple of the Mahadev Shiva. Lord Shiva, to the right side, 6 of them, to the left side, 6 of them. I feel the cool touch on my forehead as I do pranam to the steps. And I enter and visit all the 6 temples. I come out, I do my pranam, go on to the left side and visit the 6 temples. I feel the presence. I proceed to the left of the Dwadas temple, another small Kali temple in Dakshineshwar. Then I take myself, transport to the Lord Shiva's temple, Tarakeshwar, Baba Taruknath. I'm allowed to touch the Shivaling. I touch my head, I do my prayers, I sit for meditation. I see the divine light. I remember what I have read in Paramahansa Yogananda's Yogi Kathamrit, the autobiography of a yogi. The journey in page 131 to 141, the power of Mahadev Tarakeshwar. As I meditate, I transport myself spiritually to Lord Shiva at Kashi Vishwanath temple. Early in the morning, through my meditative journey, spiritually, mentally, I take myself, I do my pranam, feel the cool touch of the Lord Shiva. I sit for meditation. I proceed to the Mahakaleshwar at Indore and then to Bhopal, Omkareshwar. I take myself spiritually and mentally to Kedarnath. In that cold winter time, everything is snow covered. I do my pranam and I visualize the Mahadev Shiva right all over, right in the sky, experience his presence, experience the presence in Amarnath, in Sikkim, on top of the mountain, huge 1,000 feet tall Shiva. I transport myself to Kailash Manasarovar. I come back and witness to Dakshineshwar Radha Krishna Mandir. I take myself through the meditative journey to Mathura Vrindavan, to Jagannath Puri temple. I take myself to Badri Vishal Radha Krishna Mandir. I transport myself to the ashrama and do my prayers to Radha Krishna in the place and my prayers. I go to Paramahansa Yogananda, Paramahansa Ramakrishna's room, meditate, see the picture of Mahavatar Babaji, take myself, transport to Babaji's cave. Each place I sit, today as I'm talking, I taking you across swiftly, but in my meditative taking the journey, I sit for a while, and from there I go down straight to ashrama, to Babaji's statue, Kalpa Yogi Mahavatar Babaji, the deathless master. I transport myself spiritually to the school and pray along with my chanting of Gayatri Mantra. From there, I take myself, transport to Jhansi, Paramahansa Yogananda's ashrama. I meditate in the lychee tree underneath. I shift myself to the meditative room. I sit for meditation early in the morning with the other monks of the order. And then I go and sit peacefully in his room, touching the wooden cot in which he used to meditate. I transport myself back to the ashrama, taking the journey. Take myself to your choice, where you like to. Taking this journey visually through your eyes closed. You may open your eyes, and this is the journey toward the self-realization. And remember, before you sit for meditation, there is certain understanding. First, the goal. The goal, there are perks to the process of the meditative, in which you would certainly get what Mahesh Yogi talked about. But eventually, Mahesh Yogi said, I will give them what I want, and that's the self-realization. True, do it or get it. This is the religion of all orders, or is for experiencing. Mystics across all religion has experienced the direct visions of the Supreme. Today, the paradigm is for the devotion. For the devotional angle, you have to have faith. You have to have faith in the book. Do go ahead and have the faith. Develop more of faith. Develop more on the trust on the book. But along with the paradigm of the happiness and the peace, In the journey through meditation, mind needs to be calm. If the mind is calm, then the yogic path takes you across to the realization. Through the yogic process, what is happening before you sit for meditation, if you understand that if you experience it, your doubts would diminish and will go away. You and I may argue with other experience because I'm not tasting it. But if I taste it myself, if I experience it myself, then I have no doubt. This is what is my experience. Taking you across to understand religion is not just believing, it is something for experiencing. Great mistakes, great masters of all religion have experienced. Talk about any liberation, Kaivalya. If you talk about
I didn't understand that.
anything, the solitude, moksha. Kaivalya means learning to experience I, me, myself, the aloneness. Now, in which various religion, if you look at Tada Drishya Swarupa Avasthana, this Sanskrit is the third principle of Patanjali. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is the third sutra. Tada Drishtya, Drishya, that is what you actually are seeing is Swarupa Avasthana. You're realizing the true picture of who am I, experiencing that which is the journey of self-realization. You experience the calmness and experience that I'm not just this body, I'm not just the mind, I'm not a name, I'm something else. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is taking you there by doing something. Example, we talked about, let's say, a calm lake. A beautiful lake, you'll have seen many. You will see in the lake as a reflection of birds, of the mountains, of the trees, many. Now, if I ask you the question, can you see the water in the lake? An yogic person will say, how? I'm seeing the reflection. These are the reflection. Let's say television screen. I'm seeing the picture, the movie, the running movie. I have forgotten, whether in the television or in a picture hall, I've forgotten the presence of the screen. That the screen is not changing. What is changing is the movie. Movie may keep on playing. I may stop the movie, screen remains. Same thing is my consciousness, my awareness. It remains. Consciousness does not change. It becomes aware. Look at the presence of the waves in an ocean. The wave is nothing else but the water. It is not true statement that the waves, the ocean, the bubbles and the froth have water in it. It is not a true statement. If that is so, that means a glass of water, if I take it, I say there is water in it. I can separate the water, separate the glass. But I cannot do that with the ocean, with the wave. I cannot separate the screen from the movie. If I remove the screen, the movie doesn't. A father from a jungle, after the son has grown up to 7, 8 years of age in the jungle, never visited a town. Father said, Father has been to town and he's shifted to quietude, peaceful living place of a jungle. Well, let me take you and show you a movie today. Famous Mahabharata is running. Father takes the boy across. It just so happened, understand this simile. The movie has already started. Before coming, Father had told me, when we go there, you will see a screen, a white screen, and the picture will come into that. That is because of the light coming from behind. But when the boy walks in with the father, father said, don't talk, it'll disturb everybody. So the boy is watching, and Krishna and Arjuna, and a beautiful battle preparation is going on, and Krishna is advising Arjuna. He's engrossed with the movie. After a while, he's whispering to Father, Father, you said there will be a screen. Which is the screen? The father said, what you're seeing is the screen. The boy said, oh, Arjuna is the screen. Father said, no, 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 behind Arjuna. The boy said, behind Arjuna, meaning Krishna? He said, no, 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 behind Krishna also. He said, behind Arjuna and Krishna, all those people who are preparing and they're blowing conch and the horses are rearing to start. He said, no, behind that. The boy says, oh, that means you mean that blue sky, which is being shown behind? Father said, no, no, behind that. He said, behind that is what? He said, behind that where there is nothing. Naturally, father is finding it very difficult because picture is already started. Champion devotees, you and I start this world when we are born. The world is already running in front of us. There is father, there is mother, there is house, there is building, and there is food, and there is a mother to feed us. The picture is already running. And we think, I am Vedant Kute. This is Vedant. Everybody tells you, you are Vedant. Smile Vedant, smile Vedant. And we grow up seeing myself as the body and the mind and the name and a form. The boy says, nothing? That means none of this? That means the screen is nothing? Understand the problem. And this awareness is the pointer with which we are taking you across, changing the mind, changing the body, changing the form. This is the consciousness. This consciousness is, you see the world outside the objects. There is this mind. You can see my pointer, which is connected with reflective consciousness, which is illuminated by the power of the light of consciousness, like the sun lighting up the moon. Consciousness lighting up the reflective consciousness through which the mind getting the message from the brain. The brain gets the message through the five senses, like you saw the clock, like you heard the sound, and like that, the other three senses, getting the world and being dumped into the brain in turn dumping into the mind through the body and through the senses. Now, the mind is experiencing, and experiencing, how is it the first person experience? Like you go to an airport and the door opens. You see the experience of the door opening. The door doesn't realize it is just electronic. You put your hand in front of the water tap, electronically water starts flowing. But the first person experience of the drinking that cool water cannot be understood normally. This is the awareness, is we are taking you across various religions, takes you about various through the symbol, through the journey. Name it any. Journey is one. Eko ham bahushama. Krishna is telling Arjuna. Shankaracharya is going ahead and talking about beyond these techniques of meditation, yoga. It's the understanding this yoga process is a part of Vedanta. Vedanta has taken Patanjali's yoga, taken Buddhism's Buddha. When he started off his first session, he had two Sankhya teacher, and Sankhya teachers talked about Patanjali, talked about Purva Mimamsa, how to understand the Upanishads, talked about Nyaya philosophy, logic of understanding, and through all of them put together, put Vedanta on top, that is Advaita Vedanta, in which there is Patanjali, yoga processes, there is breathing technique, there is meditation technique, there is Sankhya philosophy, there is Nyaya philosophy, there is Purva Mimamsa. Vedanta has taken everything and condensed into, like, just for example, in 8 limbs Yoga Sutra Patanjali, there are 8 limbs. But Shankaracharya explaining had brought in 15 limbs. And we have gone over this before. We will take them again for revision. This is Patanjali. The, some people say, was Patanjali before or Buddha before? There is no doubt in the theosophians and the philosophers who have now done the research that Buddha, when he retreated, he had his group of people, and he left them, and he went and met 2 gurus, and their names are here. It's talking about the same tada drishtya udyamakarama. That is, what you are seeing, you have to realize it to be one, is the realization of the Buddha through the yoga talking about. You have to realize that. And the 2 gurus were Alata Karama and Udyama Karama. These are little bit of information for you to take on the 10 principles. These, we have gone over them, but just for reinforcement. First is regularity. You cannot avoid that. It has to be regularly, and pointers talking about that you have to not only be regular every day, you have to also do it for a long time in the Patanjali. Notice the difference. Let's go over the pointers. Second is the place. Third is the time. Fourth is talking about the thoughts. Fifth is the bad company. Sixth, asceticism. We have gone over these detailed explanations, and then come to understand the presence of God. When you're going in for meditation, you must get that feeling of bhava, and talking about the absolute surrender to that presence of the bhava, of the God, and then going into sitting for meditation with the power of holy company. We talked about the regularities, the It is the spirituality is the essence of the mind, the teaching of the repetitive methods. He talked about, we know that the physical limitations, lifting, we are aware that I cannot lift a 200-pound weight. I cannot take a marathon race. But when somebody asks me, can you sit for meditation for 30 minutes? We say, no problem. But there is not understanding, not clarity in which the spirituality in mind, training the elephant, just rushing through the last time what we had talked about. Time, in the time, nature's time, Brahma Muhurta, Sandikshans, four principles, and the early morning meditation process. Select holy places. There is, the meditative centers are all over today, including in airports. But unfortunately, it has got a lesser priority. Many a places you will find in the airport, they've chosen a center which is right next to the washroom. It has to be a holy place. So you choose your holy place. And in the place where it goes on to Paramahamsa Ramakrishna says, Mone, Bone, Kone. In your mind, in a forest, in an isolated place, and in the corner of your house. You select the place where you realize that the mind is becoming like a compass needle, always pointing to the north, always pointing to one. In this journey, what is happening? As you're breathing and practicing, the breathing is through the meditative Patanjali process, is shifting the mindfulness into doing. What is happening? I am breathing in, I'm experiencing the breath. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking about the breath. I'm holding on to the breath. I'm being aware of the breath moving. And a very good way of single pointedness is to follow the breath. As you're following the breath, also another good pointer is feel as you breathe in, gentle swelling of the abdomen. As you breathe out, feel the gentle squeezing of the abdomen. So now what have you done? The mind which is saying, as you're breathing in, you may be thinking suddenly that thought has come, what is for breakfast today? And you are saying immediately, no, 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 no breakfast. Think about the breathing in. As your mind wanders off, say, shift your mind back into the gentle movement of the abdomen. So, what you're doing actually is fixing your mind through the Patanjali method, is the movement. In the Vedantic process, what you're doing, you're being aware that I'm aware that my body is breathing, mind is breathing, and I'm aware mind is tend to drift away. I'm bringing it back. I'm aware, I'm conscious, but I'm also following the Vedanta process in the thoughts. The tremendous distractions of the thought. There is a beautiful one of the monk explains. Imagine you have been given a mantra, and imagine you are practicing the Kriya Yoga. You're doing your Hamsa meditation, and then you're going to Omkar meditation. As you're doing the Hamsa and Omkar, you're chanting silently. Hamsa, chanting silently Omkar, or if you're doing a mantra japa. And you want to shift off to another center where, let us say, you ask one of your friend, I am going to a mountain place, let's say a quiet place of either a foreign country like Switzerland or in Himachal Pradesh. I want to go into that mountain and be in the silent process. Can you tell me a place? Your friend says, yes, yes, I have a house there. You can go and stay in that house. Take this chit, go and show this chit to the caretaker. Caretaker will let you stay there. You're happy, you've gone there, you knock on the door. Somebody opens the door, a ruffian looking person, and he says, what is it? You say, I'm going to come and stay here. I've been given permission by my friend. He says, who says so? He says, see this letter? It is written here. He takes the letter, he tears it off and throws it off. And he picks you up and throws you outside the house. Now, what has happened? The bad company has taken over the house by force. Actually, you are authorized to stay there, but he throws you out. So now imagine you're doing the mantra japa, you're doing the Omkar meditation, or you're doing the Hamsa. But bad company will immediately, you are saying Om, Om, Om silently, or you're doing Hamsa, Hamsa, Hamsa. But the bad company throws you out, and your mind is now clobbered with various different ideas. So bad company must be avoided. Godly thoughts stay within the power. You know, there was one gentleman, he was living in the cave. Now, of course, he's got an ashram. Right now, he's there living. He's about 75 now. He is explaining, you know, I realized that if I have to have an early morning milk, I have to walk for 45 minutes across the mountain, go have the milk and come back again, another 45 minutes and drinking milk. So almost one and a half hour plus. So I decided I don't want to waste my time. So notice how your mind plays the trick. And he said, I will not go. I will sit for meditation. And he's telling his bhaktas, you know what? I did it. I meditated. But you know what I meditated? All I meditated, I am a strong meditator. I have now sacrificed. I'm not going to drink the milk. And I am not going to, go off to the mountain. See, I'm saving 1.5 hours. And he goes on to say, all I did in that 1.5, 2 hours only thought about milk and milk and milk. He said, it is better go down and drink the milk and come down and be peaceful and be calm. So, understanding that meditative journey, how to conquer and stay under the control. This is the mind, which is, you can see the powerful rainy water in the same Gangotri Gomukhi area. But look at the picture. Think, your mind is filled with, because of the rain shower, fast current, and our mind is like that. All this says your mind is so dirty and filled with junk. It's of no use. Fast current, because it's dangerous. If you try to cross it, you will be swept off. In fact, quite often people get swept off and they die. We have happened to see this. Sharada ma'am and I, we had gone down just after the Kedarnath when it was flooded. And it was so fast, so strong a current. You forget about swimming across. People were swept off. So many people died. But if you look at a meditative mind, it's like this crystal clear rivulet, same river, but in a winter season. It is a calm state of mind. This Evergrace is talking about that remove your shoes, that set of mind is talking about approaching by removing all your dirty thoughts, funny thoughts, not being clouded by like a mother, like a father, like a husband, like a wife, or like a professional, or I'm a teacher. No, remove those thoughts. Look at this calm, meditative mind. This is crystal clear. And this water is drinkable. Same river, same Gangotri, Gomukhi, crystal clear. It is not only drinkable, it is of great use, calm state of mind. Gentle, you can give it to people to drink it to help them. You can carry that river Ganga water to your place. Bad company, if you realize that if you are lonely, when you are alone, you are in bad company. This is Jean Paul Sartre is saying. That is, if you feel you're lonely and you feel you're alone, you're in bad company. The moment you feel you're alone, that is a feeling of loneliness. Whereas if you're calm and peaceful, and then you're focused your mind, that is another kind of a aloneness. I'm being alone. I'm peaceful and happy. There is a monk who is to live 6 months in a year. Lots of children, people come and visit Kedarnath area only. And he used to love the children, give them sweets, give them something. And one of the monk asked, Maharaj, what happens when the children go away and you're living all by yourself? He used to still live in that frozen place, totally minus 15-degree temperature. The unless you have some kind of a Bukhari, your bed is also minus 15. He says, what do you do then? He says, I am very peaceful. I enjoy my being alone. Then I am alone also when the children come here. तब हम मजे में हैं. When I'm alone, हम और भी मजे में हैं. Now, look at the sixth one. Tapasya, asceticism. Approach with a sense of eternity. Eternity is not that you should own nothing, but that the nothing should own you. These are processes. Go over these pointers. There is a lot of it to be thought about. It takes a lot of time. I'm giving you those pointers. Remember that it is not just remembering those points, but always going toward being not just being alone, but that self-realization towards that point. You know, if you go to a graveyard sometime, go to a graveyard and sit there for a while. Look at all those graves. Just think, you were there too. Those people were also equally as active as you and I are today. We will also die either in a burning place or in the graveyard. Nobody is waiting for you and I. But the moment you are calm and peaceful, you are in the titiksha, focus, in concentration. Indo Gandhiji and Martin Luther, not the Martin Luther of the meditation, Martin Luther is the one who took the Protestant movement. Both of them, when Gandhiji is saying, when I am very disturbed, I sit for meditation for 1 hour. Same statement is also by Martin Luther. And he says, when I'm very disturbed, when Gandhiji was very disturbed by so many people and talking about various things about, people like talking about this is going to happen and that is going to happen. He said, I meditated for 2 hours instead of one. Feeling of the presence of the eternity. Seventh point, not as a father, mother, wife, but being of the feeling of being by myself in the eternity, a sense of peace. We do not build houses on bridges. We just go through the river onto that side. If we try to build a house there, you are in for trouble. Good life is a direction, regularity, time, place, thoughts, keeping into that movement. The eighth point is learning to be with this godness, taking on the journey of absolute calmness and consciousness with that feeling of yearning to be one. Like a toothache, you have the feeling of the toothache. It's the same feeling which was there with Jesus Christ, Vivekananda, Paramahansa, Yogananda, Ramakrishna. Have a sense of power, knowing, being aware towards this toothless. And the power of holy company. In this holy company, let's say a boat takes you from one place to another. You cross the river. You don't hold on to the boat. You don't go ahead and said, the boat has taken me across. I'm going to take the boat with me. Understanding the same example of the movie show. A movie show, it plays, it finishes, you can replace it again and again and again. The same movie, screen is there, you can replay the ocean. We are replacing the, the same picture again and again. The scene is going on, screen is there, but the plane is going on. Training your consciousness through breathing. Train the consciousness and guiding through the consciousness to the breathing. Understanding that the differences between one is doing, and which is by the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and the other is being aware. Being aware is being conscious of knowing, awareness. One is doing things, one is being aware. And when you join all of them, you attain a different status of knowingness, being aware. How do I get onto the screen? Taking on that journey of oneness. It's 12 combining the whole lot together, taking the journey. It is a beautiful journey in which being aware as well as practicing, that is practicing those Buddha talked about it, learned it, he developed his own methods. Similarly, Sankhya developed his own methods, talked about it. You're combining the two. Prabuddhamaran is talked about in terms of looking ahead through Patanjali Yoga Sutra, looking through the various principles of Minana Upasit. All of them, when you take on and join them together, being all the time of only one thing, that is the awareness. Practice all of them, but being all the time of being conscious of oneness. I am that oneness of aloneness. Being conscious of that oneness. When you do that, then that consciousness practice through the practices, you slowly understand to one point. As you keep practicing through the various practices, as you keep practicing through again and again with regularity, you come to a state, and that state is oneness of silence. Suddenly, a silence comes in. Your mind, which used to get disturbed with various thoughts, you're coming back again and again, coming back, bringing your mind. No, 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 I should not think about thinking about eating or thinking about that man had said that, bringing it back immediately. Oneness, bringing it back. As you're breathing in and breathing out, another thought comes in. No, no, bringing it back. Progressively, silence steps in, and you slowly realize, just like you practice in Zen Upanishad, that practices in which oneness is comes in. You notice that your mind becomes calmer and calmer, and one, in that stateness, there are no more disturbances, maybe very little. As you practice more and more and more, is the journey is that we have to take it on, in which suddenly you realize that you're all by yourself and there are no more disturbances. Your mind is silent, and now you know, I am that one. And that is where is what the great masters talk about is absolute, total mind is silent, focus, not any other thought. That is our journey. It is certainly very difficult, but the journey is to go in. Vivekananda is saying, if you practice today with all your disturbances, you may make 5,000, 6,000 different time, different problems, but continue to practice every day, preferably at least 2 times a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Very good. If you have a little break time and you have little time, make it 3 times a day. Some people may not be able to do it 2 times or 3 times a day. At least do 1 time a day. Some of us say morning time, I can't do it because I'm a late riser. It takes time for me to settle down. I like to do it in the evening. Vedanta saying, go ahead. Great masters are saying, at least do that. What the recommendation is, do at least 2 times a day. Early morning is an ideal time. During that, evening time, 2 times a day, silence will slowly come in. Instead of being lonely, you would be silently alone toward that situation. Take on that journey, that 5,000, 6,000 journey today during our processes will continue to reduce. Without that, Vivekananda is saying, you may do 50, 60,000 different types of measurement. And those efforts would automatically take us to more trouble, more disturbances. Silence would take a lot of time to figure it. The practice every day. Remember, remove all the bad thoughts and take on good company. Talk about good company. Take yourself, focus towards good things, good reading, good practices. If you have any question, please go ahead. You may ask. We shall go ahead and answer those questions. Any question?
May I ask, Sir Jai Guru?
Jai Guru.
So, if I've understood correctly, can I say that in the Patanjali Sutra meditation, the small I is realizing the big I, using the body and the mind as instruments? And in the Vedantic way, I'm saying drop the body and the mind, because I'm saying I am not the body, I am not the mind, and I will reach the awareness. And both have to be adopted in life, and both will take you to that same goal of that finding the Brahman.
Absolutely true. Yes, you're right. The journey is eventually to take on to the understanding of the ultimate goal is that oneness, that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this name, I'm not the form. But towards this journey, the Vedanta goes ahead and gives us a beautiful process in which you combine the process. You're holding on to the main essence of the journey, continuously following, getting back to when your mind is tending to get distracted,
Waver.
bring it back onto the spot. Mind gets distracted, bring it back again. And this is how the journey for you and I, as we start the journey, as we keep on practicing without a mistake, doing it with regularity, and doing it with those specific times, the mind progressively starts to clear. Remember that example of the dirty river and to the calm river, that calmness. And this is the mind progressively. Mind is not me. I am the consciousness. And the mind, understanding it this way, cannot experience the world without the consciousness. And the consciousness by itself, as per Vedanta, is zero. Mind cannot experience unless the experience of the consciousness is present. Consciousness by itself alone, if there is no mind and nothing, is totally zero. So mind is required, but mind joins it with the body, and slowly you go beyond the mind. Man ke par chale jao. Now mind is still there. Mind is but calm. And our intention is to that absorption, which is called samadhi state. And ideal with the Vedanta, not just doing it, but also experiencing it through the awareness. And then it is only the awareness, is the silence supreme process. Yes. Any other question? Let me finish it with one of the beautiful story. And this story is, there is in Tapovan, which is north of Gangotri, in the Tapovan. It's extremely cold. And some of the masters, they always lived there, even through the years, even the most coldest of the time, some people keep on staying there. Now, when it was a little better condition, some of the from Delhi, these one of the director along with his team came down to take some pictures of these monks and to show it to the world, coming back and showing it through the presentation, that through the YouTube and through the pictures, this is what how difficult they're living in. So they go in, They carry their, little, take the pictures and then want to go back and display. So they go to the Maharaj, his name was Tapuvan Muni. Tapuvan Muni, they go and approach and said, Maharaj, we're going to take this film. I hope you will agree with us. So Tapuvan Muni didn't know anything about this so-called, what is this picture that you're talking about? He's never heard of it. They said, see, I will show you one. That they start off with the generator which they had carried, and they had carried a little screen and show the picture and say, see, this is what the Gangotri is, very calm and peaceful, and you can see this right now. Tapovan Muni was very excited and he said, wow, actually you could see it. And then he takes his lota and he gives it to the director. He says, why don't you give me a little bit of this Ganga Pani? Let me drink it. The director smiles and he tells Tapovan Muni, this is, ye sab dikhta hai, asliyat pe nahi hai. It only you can see it, it's not real. Tapovan Muni looks at everybody else amongst all those people who were staying with him. He stands up and he tells them, can you see all these, the mountain, the jungle, the snow peaks? Look at these people, look at the camera. This is all you see it. None of them is real. Apparently, it is true, but it is not. Ye sab dikhta hai. With this message, understand it all the time, remembering this is not so. It appears to be so. And initially, it appears to be difficult in the understanding. But subsequently, as it becomes calmer and calmer and calmer, you attain that called absorption. You know, the second example, Vivekananda, when he was in America, he used to call the people and he said, let's start with the meditation and then I will cover the rest of the points. They would start with the meditation and 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, he used to totally get into the absorbed state. And slowly, these American boys and girls, they would leave quietly, go away. They didn't want to disturb him. And Vivekananda used to feel very bad. And he used to tell them, listen, next time when you see after 20 or 30 minutes, I'm still in meditation, come to my ear and give this mantra, talk to silently in my ear. I will get back and we will go through our rest of the sessions. So understand it that to get into the meditative state for you and me, it is quite challenging and very difficult. But look at it, great masters, Paramahansa Yogananda, Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, Jesus Christ, to them, it is difficult to get them out of that meditative state. They're out of the absorbed status. But understanding it, very simple statement by Vivekananda himself, it is not the birthright of Vivekananda, of Buddha, or of Jesus Christ. It is yours and my birthright too. All we need to know, understand it, believe in it, but not believing in it blindly, like having faith, but knowing that is the truth. And sure, faith is also important, but knowing all the time, faith alone is just faith. But understanding the awareness along with faith is the journey takes you for without any mistake, single-mindedly towards who we truly are. Let us finish with a silent chant. Akasha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Agnyaya Shanti, Jalaspataya Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Om Chitta Shanti, Manaha Shanti, Uttaradesha Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti. Manaha Shanti, Paschimaya Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Guru.